and I figured I should introduce myself since we're starting up this new channel I've been waiting and excited to start. It's a booktubing channel, AshillionBooks. And no, I haven't read 1,000,000 books, though I bet I'm pretty close to that number. So the goal here is maybe someday we'll reach 1,000,000 books. And this first video we're going to start off with is a quick review, the first of many. And this review is going to be over the book 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. This book is the first in a trilogy of 3 series. I've only started this first one, but I've fallen in love with it. And we're going to talk about what makes 1,000 Pieces of You such a good book and why I give it 3 out of 5 stars. We'll start with a quick summary of the book. Marguerite Kane is a young girl in her teens who has had her father recently been murdered by someone close to her in her family. So her friend Theo uses this special device called the Firebird, which is how they travel through dimensions in this book, to find the killer of her father, or alleged killer of her father, and try to solve the mystery of his murder and possibly get revenge. In the story, she's going to travel through different dimensions that are all alternate pieces of herself and her family. There's thousands of different dimensions that are supposedly you exist in or you don't exist in, but in some way your presence is there, and you can go with the Firebird, you can travel to all these different dimensions. So, already ahead of time, what makes this book so awesome? 1,000 Pieces of You has time travel, super cute lead boys, of course a love triangle, don't we all love those? Not this one. And Marguerite is a super feisty, fun character, and she's kind of simple and laid back, so she makes a very relatable first-person narrative to follow. So those are definitely interesting things. Plus, dimensional travel! That's pretty awesome. You don't get that in many genres, so that's what makes this story kind of interesting. I think Claudia Gray really picked up on a unique genre of jumping through time travel and different dimensions and all these different pieces of somebody's self, and how somehow you could still be found with the same people in your life in your normal dimension, in another dimension, but living out in different ways. Some cons of this story. The story can be slightly repetitive when they're traveling through dimensions. Claudia writes it really well because there's all these different unique dimensions that they jump through, but how the story flows is a little bit repetitive to me, but I still managed to like it and read it quickly. It's a nice quick read, almost too quick in my opinion, but I enjoyed it either way. There's an annoying love triangle. I only say that because I personally don't like love triangles. I think they take away from the overall story, and I think this is one of those situations with the romance that the triangle's kind of stealing the thunder of the actual plot and story, and that's when I lose the care for the love triangles. But it doesn't take too much away, so I think anyone can still enjoy it. And if you like love triangles, you would love it. It's just as bad as Jacob and Bella and Edward. I mean, everyone had trouble with their love triangle. If you like love triangles, you'd enjoy it. I don't really enjoy that part of the book, but the storyline is there, and I like the plot so much that I kind of get past all the romance, love triangle stuff. I enjoy the individual romance, like possible Paul and Margaret, or Theo and Margaret. I mean, individually I liked it until I realized it was coming into this love triangle sequence, and I wasn't very fond of that. So if you don't like love triangles, there is some of that in there. The first person narrative is really simple, so the story flows pretty easily, but I think you lose track of some of the story because it's really basic written. That's only a con that I have to it. It's just almost too simple. But for its audience, that's an alright thing, so it wouldn't get in the way of the actual goal here with the story. I don't like to talk about the cons too much, so of course, we gotta give the pros of what makes her story so awesome. 1,000 Pieces of You has alternate dimensions. Everyone wonders every day about, what if there's another dimension where I'm like this, or somebody's this? What if I never met this person? Would this cause this fallout? And this story kind of explores those ideas where they travel through dimensions with the Firebird. So that's my favorite part of the story, is this interesting jump between dimensions and seeing how in this story you have Marguerite as a princess or duchess. I don't know. You have Marguerite as a duchess in one dimension, but then she's just an ordinary girl who lives with a scientific family that she doesn't necessarily fit in with, but she's really artistic, and I find that really intriguing about her because I'm an art geek myself. So seeing her be artsy is a nice thing to catch on with. She's really relatable and fun, and that's what makes her so interesting. And a pro of the book is that Marguerite is just very relatable first-person character as well. And she's feisty, and she makes a great, strong female lead. And everybody wants that in this 21st century, in this time period. Strong female leads, go. Woo for feminism. There's also the whole forbidden love ordeal in the story because Paul is supposedly her father's killer, and the idea that she's so strongly connected to him is forbidden in a way to be in love with him or just even think that she could be in love with him. So it's a lot of praise because of the unique ideas: time travel, Firebird, scientific technology that we like to imagine could possibly happen someday. Her parents are geniuses. It's fun to hear about how each character is so different as well, and how her family is not all the same. They're not all scientific-y. They're not all researchers and scientists. Marjorie, she's known for her art and being a creative person. Her sister is kind of sciencey, but she's a beach girl. She's more fun, laid back, and her parents are both really nerd researchers and they like to work. She's also homeschooled. The characters are all really relatable and different, and I think that makes the story 10 times more interesting than if it was one of those stories where everyone's the same and the family seems to just follow each other's guidelines. I like that Marjorie does her own thing. Her parents understand that her thing isn't science and that she prefers arts, and I like that about the story, and I like the plot lines. There's twists, there's mystery and suspense to who or why her father was murdered, and all the dimension traveling adds this fun flow to the story, so it flows really well, and that's some of the good parts of it. Overall, I would give the story 4 out of 5 stars for a quick review, and it's quick and fast because that's going to be the thing that we start out here. Quick reviews, where it's quick summaries, quick flow-throughs, and such of the book to give it a good review. Blah, blah, blah. Quick summaries and good reviews of the videos in fast pace instead of your longer videos, so you can really watch this video and know kind of what the story is going to be about. See if you want to pick it up and read it in the stories. I also have to add, this cover is freaking gorgeous. All the books are gorgeous. All her trilogy books have these gorgeous covers, and I think that doesn't draw you in, obviously. I know, don't judge a book by its cover. You should when it comes to these because they're beautiful and the story's really beautiful. I love these covers. That's part of the reason why I got drawn to the story was the covers, and I kept seeing so many reviews about it. It was popping up on ads and pages everywhere that it was just telling me, read this book, Ashley. Read this book, your bookwormness, it calls. It's time to start your channel as well. Da, da, da. The voices of the books of the ghosts of bookworms past are telling me this, and the YouTube booktubers are calling me to join the community. That's how I came about doing this. But Claudia Gray, I love Thousand Pieces of You, and I definitely think that all of you should check it out if you're interested in dimension and that sci-fi aspect, or a little bit of romance as well for any little girls that love the true love story or building up to a love story. I enjoy it, and I look forward to reading the next 2 books. See you next time in AshillionBooks, where we move on to who knows what.